I'm Virginia Hilton from NATP, and I'm with Jim Buttonow. Our discussion today is about CAF numbers and how they may be put into pending review. Jim, can you start by explaining what a CAF number is?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Virginia. Yeah, CAF number, it's a 9-digit number that the IRS issues that basically links a representative, if it's a 2848, or a designee, if it's an 8821, to a taxpayer's account. And
Okay.
what it allows the tax pro to go ahead and do is either obtain information, when both 2848 and 8821 can do that, and or represent their client, which is the 2848, the purpose of the 2848. But that linkage and that CAF number is what glues the tax professional to that account inside of IRS systems. If you don't have a
Okay.
CAF number, you can order one through the Tax Pro account or through your first authorization by writing none in there, and the IRS will eventually issue one in 3 to 4 weeks later. But that CAF number is essential to link you to that account.
Okay, so we've established what the CAF number is. It's the way that the tax practitioner interacts with the IRS trying to get information about the client.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, ironically, it's one of the only things I've ever seen where the IRS just goes ahead and assigns you the number, right? When you say, no, I don't have it, they assign it for you and then you get it. And then you keep it forever and ever, hopefully, unless something
Forever
like,
and ever, right?
right,
Unless something happens, right?
unless
Or you retire.
pending
Yeah.
pending review happens. And then, so
Yes.
let's discuss pending review just for a minute.
Pending review means that the IRS has flagged your CAF number potentially for some sort of identity theft, right? Where someone else is using that to go ahead and access someone else's account. And this can happen, right? This can happen if your CAF number's out there somewhere and someone goes ahead and tries to use it. Now, it's not effective for going ahead and getting your client's information using one of the IRS's online tools, because that generally requires you to go through an ID.me authentication account to get into their Tax Pro account and or get into the transcript delivery service on inside of e-services. But what some fraudsters have been using, they've been using the 8821,
Oh,
using that person's CAF number, and obviously they have other information about them, which is their social security number and date of birth, so that they can contact the IRS to get information on a taxpayer. And so the IRS may suspect that when someone calls that there's fraud there. It may be a false positive in some circumstances too, which is just as bad because it causes that pending review status. But what it does is it locks your CAF number, right? And so your CAF number, you no longer can utilize that CAF number. That means all the taxpayers that you're under authorization under that CAF number, all of a sudden now you're locked out of being able to either get information and or represent them.
and for you, Jim, that's a big thing because your practice is mostly representation,
Yes,
right?
it is. Yeah, it is. And it's for a lot of tax professionals who use 8821s to stay in contact on their clients' information, right? Like so they can pull transcripts when
Sure.
needed and stuff like that. That's a growing use among many tax professionals. So, yeah, for some, it's absolutely crippling. Like if you do representation work, losing access to that CAF number for any length of time can hurt your business. And also, well, your clients can start asking questions. Why can't you do this? And obviously that's a clumsy situation and such like that. But this can affect all tax pros, and I think it's going to affect more and more as more of us are getting CAF numbers, filing 8821 so that we can get access to transcripts throughout the entire year. And again, 8821, 2848, they stays in effect for 7 years after the signature date, so it can last for a while, so we can have continuous access to our clients' information. There is a method that gives you instantaneous access to your client's account and bypasses that CAF unit, bypasses the CAF unit, have to do all those keystrokes. And that's using the Tax Pro account. Now, it's not that easy, right? You could kick it off with the taxpayer account where you start the authorization there, but your client has to have an online account, and we know about 1 in 5 of our taxpayers actually have an online account. And it can only be done for individuals currently right now also. But you would send that over to your client, who would go ahead and approve that inside their
That's
online
right.
account. So that's the quick and easy way. There's also another way that allows e-signature, which is the Submit 2848 8821 online tool. You can
Hmm.
go ahead and even get an e-signed document if you've got a business relationship and upload it right there. It doesn't get the CAF, doesn't save the CAF unit for any manual keystrokes, but it basically gets it into the IRS in a paperless manner, so that it gets into their work stream a little bit quicker than obviously the fax that's going in there. Not any quicker, not it save the keystrokes, but again allows for an e-signature. That's the big helping step in that one.
Let's say, Jim, you're in a bind and you need, what's the remedy? Can you get a second CAF number? Or how long does it take for them to get you out of that pending review?
Yeah, and so getting out of pending review, let's address that one. If your CAF number's in pending review, the time there can be lengthy, and we saw in 2024 sometimes that was months, right? I as a practice could not handle months of not having access to my client's
No.
account, right? That would be fatal for my practice and not good for my clients and such. So there is a way to go ahead and get a second CAF number if you have a second location. And fortunately, my firm has 2 locations. If not, I could use a PO box for a second location, and I could go online using my Tax Pro account to get a second CAF number. And if I had to go get another set of authorizations for my client, perhaps that would be a good way to go ahead and mitigate any risk associated if your CAF number got compromised. Again, one thing you should always do is always look at your authorizations that are online. Basically, you can look inside the Tax Pro account, and if you link your existing CAF number, you can see all the taxpayers that you are authorized for there. You can actually withdraw them also. So that gives you a good indication. You ought to check that every once in a while, just like you check your EFIN number to see what type of returns are being filed under your EFIN and such. It's good to go check that to see if there are some authorizations that are showing up there that perhaps you did not, in fact, initiate with the IRS. But the Tax Pro account is the key there, right? It gives you visibility to what your authorizations are if you link your CAF number there, but it also allows you to get a second CAF number. It allows you to get a first CAF number if you don't have one, right? So it's the easiest way. And by the way, it's instantaneous. And remember, this is not going to happen to a lot of tax professionals. There's tens of thousands of CAF numbers that are out there right now. We're talking about a handful that are going to be compromised, but you don't want yours to be compromised. And if you do, again, follow those steps to go get it reinitiated, right? And if you do, if you don't want to go that route, and again, I think as a practical measure, I'm going to try to use my second CAF number, right? And we haven't seen anybody quite try to use that yet. They've tried to work with the IRS, and that has not been a good situation for them to go ahead and timely get access to their client's account. But once you rectify your identity and such, and identify all of the authorizations that are on file back with the IRS, they will give you a new CAF number, and we don't know whether or not they'll port over the old ones or require you to get a new 2848 or 8821. I suspect that they could go and port them over. But again, not a lot of instances where we've got a lot of real live examples. I'd love people's feedback on that also, to go ahead and tell me what they're seeing out there. But what we are seeing is this is, when it does happen, is this is absolutely fatal to a practice and really hurts the client relationship out there. Again, your Tax Pro account is your key to managing your authorizations. Your CAF number is personally identifiable information for you, right?
Oh,
So
yes.
if you're sending out an 8821 or a 2848, I do not send out my CAF number with the initial signature if I do not know what my client is, or if I have some indication that the method of communication is not secure, right? So I'm usually sending it secure, right? Or meeting with them directly, right? And getting a signature, what have you, but I'm protecting my CAF number. IRS is moving to a digital first interaction, service, and enforcement. So if you haven't checked out all the digital tools that are out there that the IRS has, including like the secure messaging and such, all of that are made so that we can work better, faster, stronger with the IRS. They're still in their infancy stages, but I invite you to go ahead and make sure you keep looking at those accounts. If you have oneid.me, you have access to all those accounts. So please go ahead and use those and get that information from the IRS. But also, don't stop using authorizations, 2848s, 8821s. That's why our clients have us for, right? Like, when something comes up with the IRS, they need us, right? They cannot interpret the IRS or deal with them directly. They're not very effective in doing it. So we want to encourage tax pros to continue to file authorizations, but protect that CAF number so this pending compromised CAF status doesn't happen.